Hello guys, now in this video, let's discuss about postpartum hemorrhage. In the name itself, it's very clear, postpartum. After the delivery of baby and after the delivery of placenta, there is hemorrhage. Okay, so postpartum hemorrhage means there is a severe hemorrhage happening after the delivery of placenta. Before going to discuss in detail about postpartum hemorrhage, let's see some important basic points which you have to know. What's the normal blood loss during a vaginal delivery? During normal vaginal delivery, there is loss of a blood less than 500 ml. Okay, this is something normal. During C-section, there will be a loss of blood less than 1000 ml. 1000 ml or less than 1000 ml of blood is lost during C-section. During cesarean hysterectomy, 1.5 liters, okay, less than 1.5 liters of blood is lost. These are normal values. Now let's see some important definitions of postpartum hemorrhage. Guys, when we can say that a female is having a postpartum hemorrhage, the first definition, if she is having loss of blood more than 500 ml in normal vaginal delivery. In an NVD, if she is having more than 500 ml blood loss, then it is postpartum hemorrhage. Or loss of blood more than 1000 ml or 1 liter in C section, or any hemorrhage, okay, any hemorrhage that can decrease hemoglobin by 1%, okay, 1 gram, okay, any hemorrhage that is decreasing the hemoglobin levels in this female after delivery by 1 gram %, then it is also considered as postpartum hemorrhage. These are the three important definitions you have to keep in mind. More than 500 ml in normal vaginal delivery, more than 1 liter in C-section, more than 1 gram is reduced after the bleeding, then you can consider it as postpartum hemorrhage after the delivery. Now, let's classify this postpartum hemorrhage. Guys, the postpartum hemorrhage is classified into two types: primary postpartum hemorrhage and secondary postpartum hemorrhage. What's the difference? The difference is if the bleeding, okay, if bleeding is happening in less than 24 hours, okay, if this severe bleeding is happening more than 500 ml or more than 1000 ml is happening less than 24 hours after the delivery of the baby, okay, if the bleeding is happening in less than 22 hours, then it is known as primary postpartum hemorrhage. In secondary postpartum hemorrhage, the bleeding, okay, happens after 24 hours but within 12 weeks, okay. So in between after 24 hours and within the 12 weeks after the delivery, then it is considered as secondary postpartum hemorrhage. Simple. If the bleeding is happening immediately within 24 hours, it's primary postpartum hemorrhage. After 24 hours till to 14 weeks, then it is secondary postpartum hemorrhage. Now you have to know what is the most important cause for the primary postpartum hemorrhage. The most important cause is atonic uterus. Okay, uterine atonicity. The uterus is not contracting properly. As the uterine wall is not contracting, there is no clamp down of the blood vessels. Okay, so atonic uterus is most common cause for primary postpartum hemorrhage, and the most common cause for the secondary postpartum hemorrhage is retained placenta, okay, or retained tissue. Okay, retained placental tissue will cause secondary postpartum hemorrhage. This is the most important point. Okay, they will ask you what is the most common cause of secondary postpartum hemorrhage? Retained placenta. And the most common cause for primary postpartum hemorrhage is atonic uterus. Now, if someone asks you what is the most common overall, okay, overall most common cause, okay, overall most common cause for postpartum hemorrhage is again uterine atonicity, okay, or atonic uterus. We have already seen. Okay, uterine atonic uterus or uterine atonicity will cause primary postpartum hemorrhage, and this uterine atonicity is the overall most common cause for the postpartum hemorrhage to happen. After saying this, let's see some important causes for the postpartum hemorrhage. Guys, this is a mnemonic known as 4T's. Okay, these 4T's are most important causes for the postpartum hemorrhage. What are they? First T is tone. Okay, decreased tone, that is atonicity. Okay, the most common cause for postpartum hemorrhage, tone is decreased, uterine tone. Second T is trauma. Okay, trauma is second most common cause. Now, thrombin decreased. Okay, which means like there is some bleeding disorder. Okay, this female is having some bleeding disorder. That is the reason why she is bleeding. Okay, now last T is tissue. That is retained tissue. Retained tissue or placenta. Okay, we have already seen that this retained tissue or retained placenta is the most common cause for secondary postpartum hemorrhage. Okay guys, these are the 4 important things you have to keep in mind which will cause postpartum hemorrhage. Now after saying this, let's see what are the risk factors for atonic postpartum hemorrhage. Guys, we have already seen what is the overall most common cause for the postpartum hemorrhage. The overall most common cause is the uterine atonicity. The uterus is not contracting. Why the uterus is not contracting? Let's see some important causes. First cause is over distension of uterus. Over distension of uterus. Uterus is over distended for so long time. Now it is not able to contract properly. It's over distended. Okay, more than the physiological limits, it's over distended. So now it's become more floppy. It's not able to contract properly. Okay, now what are the causes for this over distension, guys? The causes for this over distension are twin pregnancy. Okay, twin pregnancies, 2 twins are there. Now these 2 twins over distending the uterus. Next, polyhydramnios. Macrosomia of the baby, big baby. The other causes include grand multipara. Okay, grand multipara. Okay, now she have already delivered more than 5 babies. Now her uterus for this 5 times it is stretched, so that now this uterus is over distended and not be able to contract properly. Now these are the causes for the over distension of uterus. Let's see some other causes which can lead to this uterine atonicity. Now, prolonged labor. Now, why this prolonged labor will cause uterine atonicity? Guys, if the labor is too much prolonged, then what happens all this in the time, the uterus is trying to contract in order to expel the baby and the products of conception. Guys, remember, uterus is also a muscle. If it's contracting for so long time, it gets fatigued. So after the delivery of the baby and placenta, now also it have to contract in order to clamp down those bleeding blood vessels. Now it's not able to contract. Why? Because it got fatigued. Why? Because it's also a muscle, smooth muscle. So due to prolonged labor, it will get tired and it won't contract now. So prolonged labor will cause uterine atonicity. And infections like chorioamnionitis. Okay, let me write here. Okay, infections like chorioamnionitis will also cause uterine atonicity. Previous history of postpartum hemorrhage is a risk factor. Next, antenatal hemorrhage Why antenatal hemorrhage is causing atonic uterus? Here you have to keep one important point. What are the causes of antenatal hemorrhage, guys? The main important cause of antenatal hemorrhage are placenta previa and abruptio placenta. Now here I am talking about abruptio placenta. See, if a woman is having abruptio placenta, we have already seen. In abruptio placenta, there is a, the placenta is separated in such a way, in one type, there is a concealed hemorrhage, and now this hemorrhage is going to enter into the wall of myometrium, so that this entire uterus will looks like a bruised uterus. That is known as 𝐏𝐨𝐬𝐭𝐩𝐚 uterus. I have already said. Okay, in abruptio placenta, now whatever the blood, is leaking, that blood will intravasate into the myometrium of the uterus. Now, this uterus, which is blood filled, is not able to contract properly. Whenever it is not contracting properly, that will cause prolonged labor as well as increases the risk for postpartum hemorrhage. We have already discussed this. Okay, so antenatal hemorrhage, especially abruptio placenta. Okay, where you will see 𝐏𝐨𝐬𝐭𝐩𝐚 uterus. Now, adherent placenta. Okay, morbidity adherent placenta. For example, placenta accreta. Okay, placenta accreta, percreta, increta. So these type of placentas where the chorionic villi have entered into the wall of the uterus. The chorionic villi, now they are going into the myometrium, and even sometimes they will go till to the perimetrium. So these type of placentas are known as morbid and adherent placentas. Placenta accreta, percreta, increta. So whenever the placenta is invaded into the wall of the myometrium, then this myometrium or this uterine wall cannot contract properly. So that will cause uterine atonicity. Okay, adherent placentas, which includes placenta accreta, placenta percreta, and placenta increta. Okay, these placentas. Now, uterine fibroids. Okay, uterine fibroids. If the uterus is having fibroids in its wall, then such uterus cannot contract properly, causing postpartum hemorrhage. I want you to remember some other placental pathologies or some different types of placentas can also account for this postpartum hemorrhage. What are they? Placenta succinturata. Okay, there is a succinturate, small lobe is there. Okay, so placenta succinturata will also cause this postpartum hemorrhage. Placenta bilobata. Okay, this placenta bilobata will also accountable for postpartum hemorrhage. I am talking about postpartum hemorrhage. These placental types will cause postpartum hemorrhage. But I want you to remember what are the causes of atonic uterus. The causes of atonic uterus are overdistension of uterus. Guys, these are very important. Overdistension of uterus, prolonged labor, infections like chorioamnionitis, previous history of postpartum hemorrhage, antenatal hemorrhages, especially abruptio placenta, and morbidity adherent placentas, which includes placenta accreta, percreta, and increta, and uterine fibroids. All this can account for uterine atonicity.